This episode of Foreplay is brought to you by Blue Apron. The folks at Blue Apron would like to remind you that not all ingredients are created equal. Fresh, high-quality ingredients make a real, huge difference, so it's very important to know where your food comes from. Folks, many of you know that I, Riggsy, am going 40 days, 40 nights sober. Trent was supposed to join me on this venture, but lasted about 5 minutes. In this quest, I'm looking to get healthier, happier, live a little cheaper. There's absolutely nothing helping me out better than Blue Apron. Recently, had the spicy shrimp coconut curry with cabbage and rice, put some tunes on, whipped out some nice fresh ingredients, made an easy, delicious meal. Blue Apron is affordable, less than $10 per person per meal. There's tons of variety with new recipes each week. They're flexible with customized recipes used to kind of curate to your preferences. They're easy with step-by-step recipe cards, and it all comes with Blue Apron's freshness guarantee, promising every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/foreplay. That's FOREPLAY. You will love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. That's blueapron.com/foreplay. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. Let's hit it. Okay, welcome back. This is episode 5 of Foreplay. We got WGC Mexico Open week. Nobody really knows what to expect there. We're going to get into that later in the podcast. As is tradition, we're going to kick it off with a little greenskeeping. Folks, make sure that you go onto iTunes and subscribe and leave a fire review, ideally 5-star review, to win a green jacket. This is coming out the last day of February. That means you've got a very minimal amount of time, or next month, you got a lot of time. You need to make it extra good. 1 day left. Go leave a fire review to win a green jacket. The jackets are fire. Everybody loves them. Everybody wants them. There's only one way to get them.
Gotta leave a fire review.
You gotta leave a fire review. We're gonna add into greenskeeping this week some shout outs. I want to shout out to our friends at Arabian Golf TV.
Big fans of the podcast.
Huge fans of the podcast. Keep up the great work out there. We really appreciate it. Trent's got a little shout out here.
We want to give a shout out to Dan Kowalski at the Oak Ridge Golf Club in New Haven, Michigan. They gave us a bunch of apparel, some shirts, some hats. It's fire. Shout out to Dan Kowalski at Oak Ridge Golf Club. And if you are a local club, want to send us some gear, we'll give you a shout out on the podcast. Maybe we'll come by your golf course sometime and do a golf course review.
We love gear. These guys, they sent us some great stuff, great shirts. We're going to wear it. We're going to send out a couple photographs. We're huge fans of all local clubs. Local, I guess, to the world, because basically a club anywhere is what we call a local club.
Right.
So send us stuff. We really appreciate it. Shout out to those guys. Also, shout out to our friend John Ellis, who alerted us that he actually named our podcast.
I had forgotten about it. We put the word out a long time ago that we were going to start a golf podcast, and we're like, hey, we're looking for names. Went through a bunch of them, and once he said that, I recalled him being like, it should be Foreplay, and he was right.
It's true. We put it out there. This was midsummer. Trent and I, we'd never met each other. We were internet friends. We really didn't know what the future held. We really didn't know how much we would get along, anything like that. But we were like, hey, let's do a golf podcast type thing. Put it out. Only had like a couple thousand people listen to it. And we called it the Unnamed Golf Podcast at the time.
We did, yeah. We had never met. We just went through a bunch of players, I think. We listed if we liked them or not. It's basically what Player Feelings is now. It was a whole podcast of that. And but yeah, now we've got a name, and it's Foreplay, and it's shout out to John Ellis. So shout out to John.
Also, shout out to the brand new BARSTOOL polos, golf polos that are in the store.
By popular demand.
We want people to understand. People have been begging for these for months.
Yep.
Even before the podcast existed. Look, we want people to understand that we wanted to do these the right way, and that's very, very tricky when you know nothing about merch or slinging merch or margins or any of that shit. We didn't want to put out a dog shit shirt, but we also needed to find something that would be, within the price range where people would actually buy it. That takes a lot of kind of trial and error, experimentation.
You and I learned a lot through this process, because you and I are like, we want golf shirts, we want golf polos, people want them. We think we can sell a lot of them. We want them to look good, and we want them up in the store right now. And everyone, T-Shirt Chip and everybody else was like, we got to talk about it. And we talked a lot about it, and I think we came to the right conclusion.
Yep. Shout out to our boy T-Shirt Chip, who we kind of yelled at a couple times. We got a little hostile with. At the end of the day, the shirts are sweet. They're Nike. They're great material. We picked a couple designs that we really like. There's the classic. There's also the royal blue with the red and white, which is probably the fastest selling hat that we've ever had.
No doubt about it.
That color scheme, so you can get the shirts in both of those. We're going to be modeling those left and right. You're not going to be able to miss us. We're going to be all up in your grill. Absolutely phenomenal polo. Go to the Barstool store. Go to Foreplay. Buy all of our stuff in there. Trent, I believe that was greenskeeping.
We always crush greenskeeping. That was great. That was a longer one with shout-outs and everything. I think we crushed it.
A lot of shout-outs. Really, Arabian Golf TV, didn't see them coming. Glad that they're huge fans. Next up, Rigsy Golf Minute. This one's short this week. Ricky Fowler, of course, won the Honda Classic. Those that are paying attention, that's 2 in a row for our anonymous DM source. We're going to get into that much later in the podcast, again, by very, very popular demand. We also got our Foreplay boys. We're in the field this week. Willie Wilcox, John Curran, and Ali Schneider-Jans.
How did they do?
Also, Amy Yang won the Honda LPGA Thailand by 5 shots. Congratulations to her. That's the Rigsy Golf Minute. Trent, back to the Honda Classic. Ricky Fowler, 54-hole leader, had a 4-shot lead, finally closed it out. What do you think?
Impressive. Finally, he gets that. He was 0 for 4 when he had a 54 lead previous in his career. Finally closed it out, much to the chagrin of our guy, not of our guy, but of Johnny Miller. It's good to see Ricky get a win. I don't think I know. He's had the overrated tag for a long time.
Yep.
It did go away after the Players. But now he's getting wins. He's a little behind some of his counterparts like Jordan Spieth and those guys, but always good to see Ricky get a win.
It kind of surprised me that he was 0-4 in holding 54-hole leads, because I've never seen him as like a collapser. You know what I mean? He's always been kind of doing well. And so, like, late in the tournaments, he's always Players, for example, when he was firing them in there on 17 and all that.
Yep.
I thought he just has the reputation to me of, like, pretty ballsy down the stretch. The fact that he was 0-4 shocked me.
Yeah, I mean, he did have that, was it last year, the Waste Management against Hideki, where he kind of fell apart down the stretch. And he even fell apart down the stretch this week a little bit. He had a big enough lead where it didn't matter. Put one in the water. Didn't really matter because he had such a big lead. So I know what you're saying, but he's also had moments where you can kind of see he's not the best closer.
Yeah, he had that hilarious putt, too, on like the third or fourth hole where he putted it into a hole, like 30 feet short of a hole.
Not only did he putt it into a hole, but I'm completely blanking on Hatton, who he was playing with. He just hit it into the hole right before that. It was 2 consecutive shots into the sprinkler head. Just very bizarre stuff.
It looked like both of them were aiming for the hole.
Ricky especially.
Yeah.
Ricky with that putt, it looked like he went right for it. Wasn't even going for the hole on the golf.
Like, if he would have just started fist pumping, I would have been like, oh, what a putt.
That's good. What a save.
Another birdie or another par. Unbelievable. What a guy. So, yeah, the Honda, I mean, it's a great tourney. We had another really funny moment early in the coverage yesterday. Ian Poulter steps up. They do this big thing. He's on like a medical exemption.
Yep.
He's got to make, $200,000 in the next like 6 weeks. So they're like, every shot's really important to him. He really he's come out for the record and said he's going to be on the next Ryder Cup team and they're going to win it and all that. Puts one in the drink.
Right in the drink. Right in the drink.
Fucking terrible shot. Not even close.
People hate Poulter so much, and I get it, we all do, that I wouldn't be surprised if the announcer purposely set him up like that. Like, oh, let's give him a huge glowing review. He's going to be great. He says he's going to be great. Now let's see what happens, and just boom, right in the drink. Love it. USA. All the way.
I liked it too because they kept the camera on him for like 4, 5, 6 seconds after the shot, and he like walks over to his bag and slams his club in it. Every American fan out there, they're like, yeah, fuck you, Poulter. So that was a great clip.
We can't rally around too much together nowadays. The hatred for Ian Poulter is something we can all just totally agree on.
Yeah, that felt good. Also, he's just a Twitter asshole, so that was nice to see. It's a good feel-good story. Headlines, Johnny Miller was, again, he's kind of an electric factory.
That's the thing. I hate him, and we've been lucky for guys like me who don't like him. A lot of CBS broadcasts. Mm-hmm. We're now getting into the NBC part of the schedule, so it's always Johnny the afternoon's coverage. I can't decide. Well, I can't decide. I fucking hate Johnny Miller.
Okay.
One of the guys I hate most in golf. But then there is the flip side of that where he makes it interesting because we all hate him so much.
Yeah, he is one of those guys, definitely. I love Johnny Miller.
No!
Oh, man, I love him.
He
is amazing. His his ability to just grab, like, whenever the commentators are like, oh, this is a really tricky lie, and he just slides in with, like, now you just kind of stand on your left leg. I've done it before many times. I think that is... it comes to mind when Tiger chipped in on 17 in the 2008 U.S. Open on Saturday when they're like, oh, it's a really tricky, kind of like an uphill, side hill line. Johnny Miller's just like, no, you kind of just put all your weight on one leg. I've done it many times. And then Tiger chips in, he's just like, yep, see? So Johnny Miller's incredible. Look, his comment yesterday was something along the lines.
I've got it right here.
Read it out.
He says, this is on Ricky's win. A win is a win, but you've got to learn how to finish. You've got to learn to finish out Sundays like a true champion. He hasn't learned how to do that yet. He won by 4 strokes.
Look, ridiculous quote, but also we know what he's saying. Like, that was a little sloppy down the stretch. Dustin Johnson did the same thing the week before, where it was like, yeah, he still won by 5 fucking shots or whatever he won by, but it was like he made a couple bogeys coming down the stretch. You know, you typically, where we're used to Tiger, who he's got like a 4-shot lead at the turn, he wins by like 9.
Right. No, and it's less about comments like that, the one Miller said there, because there was some truth to it. Ricky put that one in the water, it was a little sloppy. But it's the comments like, it's what you're saying. It could be a triple breaker putt. It could be going 1,000,000 miles an hour and be like, that looks pretty straight to me. It's like, fuck you, dude. That's like the hard.
He'll just slide in like, no, every putt's a straight putt. Really, it's just, you just pick a line, it's not a problem. So, I mean, I kind of love Johnny Miller.
No, he's a jukebox. He says the same things.
But every golf announcer is a jukebox.
No, he's worse. Every Sunday, if a golfer who had a lead slips back a little bit towards the pack, he'll be like, nerves.
Oh, he does do that. Like, someone will just hit a putt that's like, you know, slightly grazes the edge, and he'll be like, oh, like that was a terrible stroke. You're like, no, you just misread it by like half a ball. It's not that big of a deal.
If you want to have the best Sunday fun day of your life, drink every time Johnny Miller says nerves on a Sunday, and you'll be blacked out by 3 o'clock.
Look, is Johnny Miller ridiculous? Absolutely, but I love him for it. He's amazing. He did, too, for a stretch, was the best golfer on the planet. I respect the hell out of that. He's a clown, but he's Johnny Miller.
He will never let you forget that he was a good golfer. He talks about it all the time. No, I see what you're saying. There is the argument to be made, and you're making it that he's better than just somebody who's wallpaper, and we're not talking about – we could be talking about somebody else, but we're not. We're talking about Johnny Miller because he's such a fucking dick.
It is funny, too, because all the people that hate Brandel Chambly, they always use the opposite argument where they're like, they shit on Chambly for having, like, a shitty career.
Yeah.
So Johnny Miller's kind of the opposite, where, like, people don't want to give him credit because they think he's a dick or whatever, and a lot of players do think he's a dick, but that's Johnny Miller. I kind of like him. I'll always kind of like him. He's Johnny fucking Miller. I know that the players hate him, but
it's good to have us disagree on something. We agree on the whole Tiger stuff. It's good that you like Johnny Miller, I guess, because I fucking hate him.
Bryson DeChambeau, I have to admit, Trent, you were right. Fuck this guy.
This is one where we were on opposite sides, and now we are on the same side.
He's the worst. He came out with his so basically the USGA has been breathing down his neck about his ridiculous side saddle situation. I believe it was one of the greats. Was it Sam Snead who did that a little bit as well?
Yeah.
The side saddle. It's ridiculous.
Here, I've got a quote here that he had a run-in with the USGA, and this was when a media member ran up on him and asked him about it. Quote, it was a long conversation, but the USGA essentially doesn't like me doing it. I'm pretty much done with it. They're not a good organization, and you can quote me on that. I'm part of their family, and as a family, it's very frustrating to see them stunt the growth of the game. And then, a couple of days later, he backtracked on all of it. He's like, I'm sorry. I got caught in the heat of the moment, blah, blah, blah. This guy is the worst.
I don't hate shitting on the USGA, but I knew he's going to backtrack. Oh, some journalist caught me at an emotional time. I cannot fucking stand that. That drives me insane. The other thing, like, it stunts the growth of the game. Dude, you're side saddling. Like, there's not millions of fucking little kids out there. They're like, oh, I'm not going to take up the game anymore because he can't side saddle. Who gives a fuck? It's a side saddle.
No, and I'm with you on the USGA thing. If you want to dunk on the USGA, go ahead. It's the backtracking. He's just, this whole thing, it's all about attention. Make a cut. Make a cut for me.
Play better.
Play better, make a cut. He hasn't made a cut I can't even tell you last time he made a cut. Make a cut and you can bitch and moan and you can putt using your fucking foot. I don't care. Just make a cut and stop talking until you do.
Another thing that put me over the edge on him was they did a segment yesterday during the coverage of the guys in the truck, like the equipment truck, that have to custom make his wedges for him. In all the time that it takes them, they have to, like, since his wedges are so much longer than everybody else's because he uses all of his irons are the same length, they're way heavier, so he has to get them down to like the same weight as a traditional wedge, even though they're way longer.
Yeah.
So they have to shave off all these parts of the wedge. And the guy in the van, or the truck, they're talking to him, and he's like, "Wow, you got to shave this, and it takes this amount of time." Those guys have to fucking hate this dude.
If you're gonna make all these, if you're gonna change up your clubs like this, he should have to do all that stuff himself, Bryson. If you're gonna be the mad scientist who shaves your clubs and all the irons are the same length, do it yourself. Don't make those poor guys in the truck do it. That's my opinion.
I agree. Speaking of backtracking, Tiger Woods, Pat Perez. I mean, I'm torn on how to feel about this one.
I don't know if I need to read the quote because I think everybody knows by now.
Yeah.
The big takeaway was, which is what everybody used to grab headlines, myself included on the blog, BarstoolSports.com, it was he knows he can't beat anybody. That's what everybody pulled away from it.
Yep.
But Pat Perez is speaking some truths here. I can take my Tiger fanboy hat off for a second. I don't know if you can. Where he's saying
I can.
Tiger has this new TGR company, and he needs that to be relevant enough so people support it. What do you do if you need support? You commit you're going to play 4 out of 5 weeks. You say you're coming back. You say you got Monster in your bag. You say you're signing with Bridgestone. You say you're doing all these things, and there's all this hype, and then you just don't follow through on it.
Question.
Yeah.
What is this whole TGR fucking
I have
thing?
no idea.
What is that?
It's a Ponzi scheme, it sounds.
It's just like a Ponzi scheme of golf courses and like nice shit that Tiger Woods owns.
I don't know what it is, but
restaurants.
If you go back to when he debuted it,
Yeah.
it has it checks all the boxes for like a Ponzi scheme, like flashy logos, flashy slogans, a head guy, and it's like we want to do synergy, we want to do this and that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
What's allegedly?
The Ponzi scheme.
It's allegedly a Ponzi scheme. We can't technically say that it is, but
That's
just saying.
That's producer full-time payroll Rob looking out for us over there.
/ lawyer Rob.
Yeah, lawyer Rob. Good job, lawyer Rob.
It's a good call because I was going off a little bit on the handle there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that I didn't like is I genuinely don't believe that Tiger doesn't believe that he can win.
I think that's right.
When he comes back, I think that he thinks he can win.
I want to think that's true, but I don't know if it is. Also, for the people saying Pat Perez can't criticize Tiger Woods, that's bullshit.
Those people are idiots.
That's bullshit.
I actually think Pat Perez saying what Pat Perez said is fine. The bottom line is you can't really take it back because he didn't really say anything wrong. You just have to know when you say what he said that you're going to get a ton of backlash.
Yeah, and he's the victim of now he's being like, oh, I'm a huge Tiger fan.
Right,
blah,
he's
blah,
doing
blah,
that whole fucking
which
charade.
Is kind of annoying, but I do feel bad for him in the sense that something got pulled out of context, but it's what you're saying. If you're going to say it, and I respect him for having the balls to say it about Tiger, because I guarantee everyone else on the tour is thinking the same thing, or at least some of the people on tour are thinking this exact same thing. So shout out to Pat Perez for saying this, but I don't love that he's walking it back.
Yeah, don't hate that he said it. Hate that he's walking it back. Stick to it, and you're fine. Let's get a little stick-to-itiveness out of these people. Speaking of not stick-to-itiveness, was that close?
I don't think so.
Jason Day withdrew with, like, he's dying, basically. It was like a double ear infection and the flu.
Double ear infection and the flu for our guy Jason. This guy, he can get hurt in the weirdest ways.
He's a Band-Aid, too. He's got the vertigo thing. He had, like, what was his big issue that he had a couple years ago? He had another injury. It was like a thumb or something like that.
The vertigo is the number one thing when he's just like on the ground.
That's not good.
No,
vertigo's bad. Really, really bad.
Shout out to our guy Coley who also has it.
Yep. So
Tiger is kind of Jason's mentor,
Yep.
and it almost seems like Tiger's injury woes are rubbing off on Jason.
Which is not good.
Not good at all. Because if Jason could stay healthy, if he had been healthy his whole career, he has stretches where he's unstoppable.
He's unbelievable. When he's on, he roasts the golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
He makes every putt. His swing is fantastic. So probably not a great sign, with the Masters coming up in a month, that he's out.
Prayers up, though. We love Jason Day.
Love Jason Day.
I just need him to be healthy. By the way, speaking of withdrawing from a tournament, it's not the same thing, but did you see what your boy Billy Horschel said?
I heard a little bit.
He said he didn't make the group of 77 that's going to be playing, but he said he was not sure if he would go anyway because of security concerns down in Mexico.
This fucking guy is the worst. So he didn't make it, whatever it is, like 77 guys or something like that.
Yeah.
Didn't qualify for WGC Mexico, and then came out with the quote, "Oh, I wouldn't have gone anyways. It's too risky, too dangerous. Fuck you, Billy Horschel." I've said it before, I've said it again. He's the only guy, I believe, to my knowledge, that has me blocked on Twitter machine in the world. I don't even think I've ever tweeted directly at him. Maybe I have. He's had me blocked. People went to bat for me to try to get me unblocked, and then I think he blocked me again. Because he was like, oh, this guy, maybe he's not that bad. Turns out I was shitting on him. This is why. He's bitching about the greens at Chambers Bay. He's always got some issue. Dude, what, security concerns? You wouldn't have gone anyway? Rob said it best before we got on. He's a guy, he didn't get invited to the party. He's like, oh, I didn't want to go to that party anyway. The party sucks. The party's awesome. It's a WGC fucking Mexico. It's a cool new event. It's one of the WGCs. There's not that many. They're very prestigious. It's a big fucking thing. You didn't qualify because you're not good enough, and then you're blaming it on Mexico's security? This guy's a loser. You got anything on Billy Horschel, Trent?
Nope. I think you summed it up pretty well right there.
All right. Go ahead.
I just had a little bit of news from over the weekend. Paulina and Dustin Johnson announced the gender of their next child. It's a boy.
What do they have? 2 boys now?
This will be a boy. I don't know if you watched the clip or not. So they're on a beach, and Paulina starts the Instagram. Oh, we're about to announce our next baby. Dustin hits it. Big old plume of blue smoke, and then Dustin calmly walks by the camera. He's like, another boy.
Wow.
Another boy.
How pumped is he?
That's the most excited I've ever seen Dustin Johnson. Guy doesn't get excited that much, but when he found out he was having another boy, the look in his eye was contagious.
Good for him. He deserves it. We talked a lot of DJ last week. Guy's the man. Speaking of the man, coming up next, we have an interview with a guy who's very hot right now, hot in the news, hot in the golf world. Originally trick shot artist, now PGA Tour golfer, our good friend Wesley Bryan. Enjoy this interview. All right, folks, we are joined by Wesley Bryan. First of all, great week this last week, coming off a T4 finish at the Honda Classic. You kind of mentioned it a little bit beforehand, but where are you right now? What are you up to?
I am in Jupiter, Florida right now, just hanging out and getting ready, kind of basing myself out of here for the Florida Swing, the first of the 3 or 4 events that I'll be playing down around these parts this past week, and just killing time till Valspar next week.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned you had a little U-Haul action going on already?
Yeah, I just moved into a new place down here and loaded up a sofa in the back of a U-Haul and drove it about 15 miles from West Palm up here to Jupiter, and it's looking good out in the parking lot right now. Actually just peeked out of the window.
Just the common man moving his stuff around. We both just moved to New York City a few months ago, so we did the whole U-Haul thing ourselves.
Ooh, how's a U-Haul in New York City?
I drove a U-Haul from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Not sure if you know where that is. Zach Johnson's from there.
Of course I do.
All the way to New York City, and it was like the worst 17 hours of my life. Especially, the worst part is what you're saying. Once you get to New York, it takes longer to get from like the outskirts of New York into the city than it does like the whole rest of the trip.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so we got to touch on it. First of all, the Bryan Bros, you guys, trick shot superstars, huge YouTube channel. What was it like kind of getting into the whole trick shot, movement before you were even really established and kind of playing pro golf out there?
We got into it because, 1, George and I were really, really broke, and 2, we were really bored. We had a lot of time on our hands just beating around on mini tours. So when we found that we had this skill set, we decided to put it on the internet, and it kind of ran wild a little bit, and found that we could make a little side business out of it. And then we just kept running and picked up some notoriety along the way, and it gave us the ability to keep funding our professional careers. And then that's how I ended up getting through Q School and out on tour, really.
Yeah, I feel like because people forget or just don't know that, playing out of the mini tours and all that tournament, it's not free. It's expensive.
It's expensive, and it really, really sucks.
Yeah.
There's nothing glamorous about it.
Yeah, so we were going to ask you a little bit about that, just kind of the difference between, the kind of mini tours, grinding it out versus, what you're getting into these days.
You got any horror stories from the mini tours?
I mean, I've got a couple horror stories for sure. I mean, you never knew if you were going to show up to a golf course and they were going to have just annihilated punch greens. There were a couple nights where I was driving back or driving to and just pulled off in a rest area and slept in my car. Beginning of the week, I'd always buy a loaf of bread and a jar of peanut butter, and that would be my breakfast, lunch, and dinner some weeks. So, I mean, I've done it all.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. So I also got to ask with the trick shots and that whole gig, you've had guys like Rory and all them on. How do those guys translate? I mean, can those guys hop right in and kind of and participate, or is there a lot of growing pains in there?
There are growing pains when it comes to actually hitting the ball out of midair. You never run across somebody who can just do it. That's kind of something you got to pick up on and practice a little bit and get to a level where it's like second nature to you. But, I mean, they can always jump right in, like hitting basic, skillful golf shots to set me up to hit it out of midair. Rory was the best I've ever seen at that. Like you just tell him to hit a ball out of a bunker and land it on the spot, and I'm not kidding. He would land it on the spot more often than not. And those are the kind of things that made my job a little bit easier.
That's phenomenal. Yeah, we're huge Rory guys, so that's good to hear.
I love Rory. And he still owes us dinner, actually, from that video.
Does he?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he does. So I might take him up on it. I think he's going to be at Bay Hill.
Little shout out to Rory. Buy these guys dinner.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So are there, we were kind of wondering, we were trying to do a little research. Are there like golf, trick shot like rivalries out there? Is there anybody that posts a video and you guys are like, we got to get to work and one up these guys?
Or are you guys like the only game in town?
I mean, at the time we were doing it, we were pretty much the only game in town. But now there's a couple guys out there that are doing stuff that George and I couldn't even fathom doing. One of the guys' names is Hole in One Trick Shots, and the other one is Coach Rusty. And they're like, I don't even think we can recover and come back because of the bar that they set.
But you do keep tabs on the other other trick shot guys.
Oh yeah, it's a small tight knit community. We all pull for each.
I love that. So of course last year, you're out web.com tour. You obviously had a really quick rise. You got the 3 wins last year. What's kind of just kind of talk us through that whole transition, I guess, of kind of really grinding out the mini tours to you get those 3 wins in pretty quick succession, and now you're kind of on your way.
I would say the web.com tour last year was kind of like a blackout. It just I woke up one day and I had a couple wins under my belt. I was in contention for the 3rd one and was able to win in a playoff, and then that's about all I really remember of it. It was just a blur. I think I only played 13 events maybe, and I had expectations going into the season. I thought I was good enough to, compete, maybe get close to winning a couple tournaments here or there, maybe vie for one of the top 25 spots on the money list. Those type of expectations, but I definitely didn't foresee winning a golf tournament, much less 3 of them my first year out. So definitely exceeded expectations, and definitely don't really remember it all. It was a big blur.
I can relate to blacking out, no problem. So we're big caddy guys too, and I know that you had your brother George on the bag for your first win on the web.com. What was that kind of relationship like out on the course?
Well, I mean, it just depended on the hole or the shot. We were either best friends or we hated each other.
Yeah, that's exactly what I figured.
50% of the time is great, and the other 50% is, the rest.
So going back to you had a lot of success, like you said, on the web.com tour. Is there any sort of stigma attached to, you're the trick shot guy, then you're having success? Does the success validate, what you've done in the past with the trick shot stuff?
I think that the general golf public kind of got to know me as a trick shot guy just because that's what was making headlines, not my T20th place finishes in mini tour events. So, but a lot of the guys out here, the players I grew up playing either junior or amateur, college, or mini tour golf with, and they kind of knew me as a player first, and then the trick shot stuff just happened to be a little stop in the road, I guess, so to speak. And I mean, yeah, I still get a lot of comments week to week, whether I pull off a shot out of the trees or someone just makes a snarky comment here or there.
Yeah, we were kind of laughing just watching the coverage this weekend because they basically anytime they'd mention you, they're like, oh yeah, the trick shot artist. Well, we're kind of like, oh, I mean, he did win 3 times on the Web.com Tour's Player of the Year last year, so it's not like this guy just trick shotted his way into the tournament.
Right, yeah. I mean, I guess shoot, you know what? If they're talking about you, that means you must be doing something right.
That's kind of been the Barstool way, too. I love that. Okay, so we've also got we're huge waste management guys. You finished T42 there. You're coming off a T4 at Genesis and a T4 at the Honda. We got to know, I mean, what was it like playing in the waste management?
The waste management is my favorite event, and I can promise to you guys that I will never miss that event from now until I'm deceased.
Well, I think we have to make the same we have to make the same promise. We got to go. We've never been.
I don't know what y'all are waiting for because it is the biggest circus sideshow that just happens to have a golf tournament in town that week. And to make things even more ridiculous, I played with Beef on Saturday, and I don't know if you saw the crowds on Saturday, but it was a record number of people, 205,000 people that are just floating around this 18-hole golf course, and all of them slightly inebriated, to say the least. And playing with Beef was, I mean, honestly, I can't even describe it. And number 16 was just on a whole nother level.
Yeah, we've basically committed to, no matter what we do with golf and our golf coverage, that if we're not at that event next year, that we're just like retiring and quitting.
How about this? Let's just go ahead and put it on the calendars. We'll have a full 30-minute feature segment, and I'll take you guys out inside the ropes for a practice round. Let's
Absolutely.
just go ahead and put it on the book.
That's done deal. We're putting it in stone right now.
It's now on a recorded podcast. That's law-abiding. That's everything. It's now. We're doing that. That's going to be great.
All right. I'm there.
You got to get us, too. We got to get some kind of wild trick shot thing where we can either just make complete idiots of ourselves or maybe get lucky and do something cool.
I thought we were getting past the trick shot thing, remember? On the golf?
Touche.
And then here you guys go bringing it up, and that's going to be a year in advance.
Rob, make sure you book that. We're going to be there. We got to be inside the ropes, 30 minutes. That's going to be wild.
Oh, y'all are going to be inside the ropes.
Oh, that's fantastic. So walk us through a little bit this last 2 events, really, like I said, with Genesis and Honda. You're in the mix. You're right up at the lead. It's somewhere, you've never been before. You're a rookie and all that. Kind of, what are you feeling out there? Is it something new, something you've never been through before?
I mean, it's the same feeling you get in any golf tournament, whether it's on the Web.com Tour or PGA Tour. The only thing that's different is, the golf courses might be a little bit harder, and then the names are different on the leaderboard. Obviously, last year there were the Dustin Johnsons, Justin Rose, Ricky Fowler, Jason Day, those type of names up on the leaderboard that I was looking at the last couple weeks, but still a lot of really good players. You just hadn't quite heard of them yet. And but I mean, the feeling is the same. And honestly, the last couple weeks I had a better chance to win this week than I did last week, but they were kind of both runaway victories. So everyone's kind of out there playing for second place. You don't get your jollies up playing for second place usually. So I'm just ready to get in the thick of things coming down the stretch with a chance to actually knock down a first place prize.
As a rookie, you said you see the Dustin Johnson, the Ricky Fowlers on the leaderboards. Do you block all that out? Is there any sort of awe factor, or are you putting all that out and just trying to play your best golf?
Shoot, I'm just trying to take them down, trying to dethrone them.
I love that attitude.
Are you a scoreboard watcher?
Yeah, I love looking at the scoreboard. Now, if it gets to a point where I look at the scoreboard and it dictates what I do on the next shot, I'll probably have to stop watching them. But I'm able to kind of compartmentalize looking at a scoreboard versus the shot that I have at hand.
I like that. I do something similar where I'll try whenever I go play golf, I'll try to turn my cell phone off. But then if I look at it, then my next shot afterwards, if it's a good one, I'll keep looking at my cell phone. If it's a bad one, I'm like, that wasn't my fault, guys. I looked at my phone. That's not my bad.
Oh man, I felt it vibrate in my pocket.
Yeah, right. I just blame everything on my phone.
I like Riggs comparing PGA Tour conditions to his cell phone going off during like a casual round.
Look, I'm just trying to relate to the guys, all right?
Well, it's not even his cell phone going off. It's the fact that he looked at it or didn't look at it.
I literally
so we're going on a whole nother level of psychological warfare.
I read one tweet and messed up my whole round. I'm like, oh no, I can't play golf anymore. So I gotta ask too. They always talk. You always hear the announcers like, "Oh, you guys will be on the 4th hole," and they're like, "Oh, I don't know, is he thinking about the bear trap already?" And I'm like, that stuff. There's no way that stuff creeps in until you guys are really playing those holes.
Man, that stuff doesn't really creep in until after you've played the hole and it's got you. Because it happened to me twice this week. I think I hit 3 balls in the water over the last 2 days on the bear trap, and it cost me winning the golf tournament. So now I'm looking back at it like, screw those holes. But at the time, you're just trying to hit the best shot you possibly can. It's not like they're the most intimidating holes you'll play all year either. It's just there happens to be a few of them in a row that are pretty tough.
Yeah, and it's when they come in the tournament and all that, and like you said, you're just trying to play one shot at a time. It's not like you're out there like, oh my god, the bear trap. Like, what are we gonna do?
A bear trap can bite though.
Oh yeah, it jumps up. It's funny how they hype it every time, but then it does factor in. Even Ricky on 17 there was a little, you never know.
Yeah, shoot, I had a double coming in on 16, and then on Saturday I had a little dub action on 15.
Hey, that happens. You should see me and Trent play those holes. It could be wild.
Yeah, I'll actually prefer to not take you up on that offer. But Phoenix is still a go. Phoenix is still a total green light.
All right, as long as Waste Management's on, you don't have to watch us play the bear trap.
Yeah, we're still in for Waste Management. We're out on bear trap.
Okay.
All right, we're going to close it with what we always close it with. We do a little rapid fire. We just have 2 or 3 questions we ask real quick. You give quick answers, and then we'll let you go.
All right, let's do it.
All right, number 1. What's your go-to curse word after a bad shot?
Oh, gosh. Fart nuggets. I
Amazing.
can't make that up.
Amazing.
That might be the best answer we've ever gotten on this show.
Next one. Who on tour would absolutely suck at doing trick shots?
I'm going to go Tiger Woods.
Whoa!
Love it.
Wow.
Just shots fired. No, I don't know. I was just going to try and get y'all animated.
That's true. You got Trent.
Honestly, I think they'd all suck, really.
Oh, I like that.
Practice it.
That's a fair point.
Full disclosure, we weren't sure you were going to answer that question if you like a real name, and you called out everybody. I love it.
Yeah, no one's safe. Not in this game.
Love that. Fierce.
Okay, last rapid fire. If you could make the exact same amount of money doing trick shots videos with your brother all day long or playing the PGA Tour golf every weekend, which would you choose?
You want me to play the PGA Tour so I screw my brother out of making money?
It's just we're just good journalists.
Trick question for a trick shot guy.
That's awful. I'm playing the PGA Tour. Screw you, George.
Ooh,
a
lot of shots fired today.
Shots fired at Tiger Woods. Shots fired at the whole PGA and your own brother.
Also, shots fired at us and said he just didn't want to see us play the bear trap.
Golly, I'm a cynical man.
I like that. That's good to know when you're out there.
Yeah, you got a little edge to you. I like you. I like it.
Oh, I enjoyed it, guys.
All right, Wesley, we really appreciate it. We will be following you out there. You've been playing really well lately, so hoping you keep that up out there.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me on.
All right, man. We'll be following you. Keep it up. Play well, and hopefully we'll talk soon, and we'll definitely see you at Phoenix next year.
Done deal.
All right, man. Take care.
Thanks, Wesley.
All right, Trent, that was Wesley Bryan. Great guy, great guest. Got to have him, one of those guys we got to do a video with that guy.
Absolutely. Yeah, shout out to him for coming on. He was a good guest.
I wonder if he could get us to look good hitting cool shots.
Maybe. We'll see about that.
Next, everybody's favorite segment, From the Gallery. Remember, email us, foreplay@barstoolsports.com, or Twitter us or Instagram us at foreplaypod. We got a couple this week. A ton of submissions, per usual. We just got 2 that we picked out. We're going to start off with Garrett. Garrett has a little bit of a predicament He says, my one buddy claims that he holds himself to the golf rule book, and anyone that doesn't is just cheating themselves. So he's a rule, one of those guys. Rule Nazi, rule hardo. That's fine.
Everybody knows a few of those.
Everybody knows a couple of those, especially golf. They're a lot more common than everything else, and that's fine. You want to play by the rules, play by the rules. However, he says, how do you handle a situation when that same buddy holes out from 150 yards out for eagle, but had to pull his ball from underneath the trees to make it playable? Do you adamantly deny his eagle, or do you share the exciting moment of his shot? What do you think, Trent?
You can't be the guy who adamantly denies his eagle. I'm too nice of a guy to call. I'd rather celebrate. We're all having a good time. I'd rather celebrate. I know he's the golf hardo, and he should be the one following these rules. Life's too short to be like going up to your buddy being like, that doesn't count, man. You got to count your strokes the right way.
Who in the literal fuck is a rule Nazi and then pulls their ball out from under a tree and then holes out for eagle?
And there is some hypocrisy in there.
That's insane.
There is some hypocrisy.
I've never heard anything like that in my life. My issue with what you just said is that this guy at some point, probably many, many, many points, has just been a massive dickhead to his buddies over the rules. Been like, oh, like you accidentally nudged your ball there on the green, that's an extra stroke, and all of that. Like shit that doesn't actually affect the play.
Right. That's
just stupid that like even people would bitch about on TV as like they should just get rid of that. It's a dumbass rule. He's been a hardo on his buddies about that. So the fact that like, how could you feel like an asshole for just, I would love to rip this out of his hands. I would fucking thrive on that.
I'm confused by this question, I think, because I don't think these people exist. I don't think a person who's a golf hardo would ever like kick their ball out into the fairway. I feel like those two things go against each other.
Yeah, weird move too by Garrett to like watch him cheat and then not call him on it until after he holes out for eagle. Like, why wouldn't you just say, hey, dude, I just like, you're always hard on us on the rules. You just fucking moved your ball from underneath a tree.
That's where you got to nip it in the bud. You got to nip it in the bud if you're going to do that. If he makes the eagle, I guess you just celebrate. But I'm not calling Garrett a liar because I don't think he would lie. The guy being a golf hardo rule guy and then a guy cheating, all in the same things happening at once, I don't think that's a real thing that happens.
I think Garrett's best policy might be a prevention policy and just, like you said, get ahead of it next time. Don't let this guy hit his fucking 150-yard shot from not under the trees when he's under the trees. Call him out for it beforehand or something. But if he does hole out, I'm yelling at him all day. I'm taking it away from him. Fuck you, you're a cheater.
Let me ask you this quick question. Are you a golf rules hardo?
Depends who I'm playing with.
Okay.
So if I'm like, the main reason is because I believe on every hole everyone needs to make sure that they're playing the same way.
Okay.
So if I'm teeing off and guys are like, hey, we're playing it up in the fairway, you can even, if it's like winter rules, you can fluff it up in the rough, or like bunkers are kind of shitty here, give yourself a good lie, maybe rake it beforehand. As long as everybody knows and we're all on the same page, totally fine. But if I get out there and like I have a shitty lie, I hit it in like a divot on a fairway on like the second hole, and nobody says a word to me, and I'm playing out of the divot, that's fine. But then if 5 holes later, that same motherfucker's in a divot, he's like, yo, Riggsy, is it cool? Like, we're playing it up in the fairways. No, go fuck yourself. Like,
okay.
So as long as we're playing the same rules, I really don't give a shit. If I'm playing with people that are hardo rules guys, totally fine with that. That's how the game's meant to be played. If I'm playing with people that are a little more, laissez-faire, kind of hanging out, loosey-goosey, totally fine.
I think that's a great answer.
Next guy, we got what we're going to kind of call the Tiger Talk of the Week. Basically, this guy just DM'd us or emailed us a dream that he had. And he says, and I quote, boys, had a wild dream last night where I hit a ball into the woods at Augusta. I don't know why he was playing at Augusta in his dream. While looking for the ball, a trail appeared, and I followed it to a private dock driving range where Tiger was wearing Sunday red and absolutely striping it. No idea what this dream means, but in my mind, and perhaps only there, Tiger is back.
Let me tell you something. I'm not a religious guy. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in any of that shit. I believe in this guy's dreams.
He had to be so jacked up when he woke up. Let's go, Tiger.
Like, I need just any glimmer of hope from Tiger, because right now there is none. I'm taking some random guy's dream, and now I just think Tiger's going to be back at the Masters, and everything's going to be fine.
Unbelievable dream to have. It's got everything. He's at Augusta. He's got Tiger. Tiger's in the red. He's on a dock, like presumably on a lake, which lakes are great.
Love lakes.
So this is really just an A-plus dream. Love this guy's dream all around. I have kind of a reoccurring dream going on where I'm playing Augusta, and I'm in the Masters, but I can't pull the club back. I'm Kevin Na at the Players a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I can't hit the ball, and then every time I get to go hit it falls off the tee.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I'm sorry everyone, and I just can't hit the ball. I can't fucking swing.
That sounds like absolute hell.
Sucks. I wake up like nervous. I can't believe I blew my shot at the Masters. It's like totally devastating.
This is a reoccurring dream?
Reoccurring dream. I've probably had it 5-6 times in my life in the last couple
now,
years.
And now that you talked about it today, you're going to have it. Definitely going to have it
coming up
tonight.
soon. Masters coming up soon, too. We're going to dominate that, by the way. All right. Speaking of the Masters, Phil Mickelson's not a bad Masters player. Trent and I, we actually have to hit the restroom. So we're going to run out of the room.
We're leaving the studio.
We got a couple guys that are going to substitute in for us. Here is Phil Mickelson and David Faraday for a few minutes.
What's your favorite Ryder Cup story that maybe we're not aware of?
So I've had some great partners over the years, and one of my favorite people that I've played with is David Toms, and we've had a lot of fun together. We played together at the Belfry in 2002. We were partners, and we were playing alternate shot together.
Very narrow in the driving area here.
We're 2 up with 3 holes to go, and we get to this par 4, the 16th hole, and I've got to hit the drive, and it's a 14-yard wide fairway.
And that's perfect.
I hit the most majestic 3-wood for me in the fairway, okay? And he's got a 9-iron in, and this hole has kind of a boomerang green that wraps from right to left around this bunker. And the green has a tier in it to the right of the bunker, so you can hit it at the pin or 50 feet right of the pin. And it will hit the green and funnel right down by the hole. And David Toms is one of the best iron players in the game. He's got a 9-iron. There's no way this shot's going to be outside of 12 or 15 feet.
7-iron it looked like down the bunker.
And he fat blocks it into the lip of the bunker. It is so uncharacteristic, but it's in the lip of the bunker. And now I have to hit this shot left-handed. I have to aim 60 feet to the right of the hole. I take out a 9-iron to open the face, hit it, and it shoots out sideways, catches the slope, and rolls down 4 feet in the cup. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I walk off to the side of the green. I just hit 2 of the best shots I've ever hit. The 3-wood in the fairway, which let's not underestimate how good that is for me. And then the 9-iron out of this bunker to 4 feet. I'm standing over there with Bones, and David calls me over for the read. He says, "Hey, Phil, come here, take a look." So I stand behind him, and he kind of shouts over his shoulder, what do you think? I said, "What do I think?" I said, "Don't this one up too." And walked off to the green. And to his credit, he knocked it right in, and after a chuckle that we had, we ended up winning the match 2-1.
All right, that was a little David Faraday and Phil Mickelson. Phenomenal Phil story. Just so everybody knows, Faraday, which is one of my favorite shows. We love that guy. We got to get him on at some point. Just a little nod out there. Don't be afraid to get David Faraday on our show. 7th season returning of Faraday on Golf Channel. New season actually kicks off on Monday, March 6th. It's a 9 p.m. Eastern time with Phil. Phil obviously is a Phil. He's a big talker. So he had a ton of stories. They had to cut it up 2 episodes. So everybody make sure you go check that out. It's March 6th and March 13th. Faraday also has Patrick Reed, who's American hero.
Or Captain America.
Captain America. We love Patrick Reed, and former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, and Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, okay.
Little wrench in there. Love Matty McConaughey.
Yes, sir.
So another great season of Faraday. Yeah, I mean, that's a classic Phil story.
I think, and this is why he's a great Faraday guest, Phil could just rip stories all day long like that. He's got to have a million of those.
He's got a million stories. I love the fact that Tom's is like, hey, Phil, like, what's the read over here? You think Phil's just like, dude, like, make the fucking putt.
Just make it.
Yeah.
I've been making so many great shots. You got to make one.
I like that. We've all been there too. We were like, dude, like, you're overthinking it. Just put the ball in the hole.
Yeah, it wasn't a very long putt either. So
it was like 4 feet or something. Like, he's like, oh, what do you think the expert read is here? Like, dude, just put the ball in the hole. I like that.
Sneaky move by Phil to wear a leather jacket in this interview.
Everyone, make sure you go out, and if you haven't seen it yet, they've been running all kinds of promos during the golf coverage and all that. Google it, Twitter it, whatever the hell you got to do. Find the picture of Phil in his leather jacket with his interview with Faraday. You know he thinks he looks sweet, too.
I can't get a read on Phil, and I think that's what he likes. He likes, oh, am I the family guy? Nope. Boom. I got a leather jacket. I'm a badass.
Like, do you think he came to the interview on a Harley?
Definitely.
I love
I'm surprised it didn't like park it right in Faraday's living room.
I mean, he looked ridiculous in the leather jacket, but the fact that he thinks he looks sweet makes me kind of think he looks sweet.
Totally agree.
All right. Moving on. We talked a little bit about Pat Perez earlier. He's been in the news a lot for different things. 2 weeks ago, he was in the news for he hit 2 people in the gallery just in the face with tee shots. Didn't yell for once.
Yeah, people were upset about that. We put the video up on Foreplay, especially the first one.
Yep.
The first one legit knocked a dude pretty much unconscious, and he didn't yell for. Second one hit somebody in the back, didn't yell for again. That rubs people the wrong way. So
we had a guy email in, and he was like, look, boys, I actually happened to be out with my buddies, and we had a PP. We had a little Pat Perez. He said they're out. They hit, I think they're on a par 5, and they're, like 220 out. Group in front of them has been slow as shit all day. So they ripped 3 woods at the green, thinking they can't get there, whatever. Guy stripes it, lands one on the green. Didn't yell for. Like, not a word out of these guys. They're just like, yeah, hit one up there, should be fine. Lands on the green. I go, shit. So the question is, what do you do when you drive up to the green and you've just hit into the group in front of you, and it's super awkward because you didn't yell for or nothing?
you think you do. We talked a little bit about this earlier, actually, before we came on. I think you throw it into low gear and you're like, oh, didn't even know I could hit it that far.
Yep.
I ate my Wheaties this morning. You say stupid shit like that to hopefully like decompress everybody, but I think that's really all you can do.
That's the classic old man joke. Like, oh, I haven't hit one that good in years. You know what I mean? You like hit them with that classic old man joke and just hope that they're cool about it. But yeah, you also I like those buddies who they'll hit one and like they blatantly like yank it right at a group of people, and they'll be like, oh, somebody should yell for. And I'm like, if you think somebody should yell for,
you should do it.
Yell fucking for, dude.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of weird little predicaments out there on the golf course. I do think that when you hit one up to people, you just got to come up with a classic old man joke on the course. Get yourself out of it.
Yeah, because you can't like be a dick about it because you're the dick in that situation.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, you guys are playing slow all day. It's on you. Then it's all day because you're going to see these people again. You got to lighten the mood with like a Wheaties joke.
The other thing that sucks is you've been waiting on them all day. You hate them, like just by default. You always hate the people that are in front of you.
I hate everyone else like on a golf course.
You always like, oh, those fucking idiots. Like, oh, they're slow as shit.
And everyone feels the same way about everyone else.
Yep. It's like the crosswalk and the person driving the car. Those two people always hate each other.
Same
like
thing.
honking at each other, beating on each other's fucking hood. Like these people just hate each other. Same deal on the golf course. So it's kind of tough to pull up and like put your tail between your legs and be like, oh, I'm so sorry, when you're obviously not sorry.
Oh, and you can't show weakness.
No.
You can't show weakness. You go with a dad joke.
Yeah, good Wheaties dad joke. All right, moving on. Gambling on the golf course and just gambling in general. Couple things we want to go with. Obviously, we're going to get to our anonymous DM source who's at Capfather on Twitter with his red hot picks. But first, people have been asking us, do you guys have any crazy gambling stories on the golf course? I do. My buddies that are listening to this right now are going to laugh because I've told this story 250 times probably.
Me and producer Rob are excited about this. You teased it before we started recording, and it sounds like a doozy.
So I lost, I believe it was somewhere in like the $1,450 range on one golf hole.
Oof.
And we don't gamble for that much, but this is what happened. So we're playing a game called Wolf. There's a lot of different ways to play Wolf, but what happens is you get 3 people. Whenever you get 3 people on the course, obviously you can't play like 2-on-2. You got to come up with something different. Wolf is a different version of that. What happens is you tee off. Each guy tees off last on a hole. You have designated holes. Like I'll go, if I'm the first guy up, I'll go last in the first hole, the 4th hole. You just keep going. Everybody rotates in. And what happens is the guy that goes last gets to choose between the first 2 guys as one of his partners, or he can go alone. So it's always 2-on-1 on every single hole.
Yep.
And each hole is worth what you call like a dot. So if you win a hole by yourself, you win twice as many dots.
Okay.
And it just goes and goes, and you can make the holes worth you can make the dots worth whatever the hell you want to make them worth.
Gotcha.
So we happen to be playing that day because we're idiots, and somebody threw it out on the first tee that the dots were worth $2 and I think 13 cents.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, whatever, who gives a shit? We'll do the math at the end. Anyway, there's also a rule in the game that whenever you get to the last 2 holes, whoever's in last place gets to wager up to half of the difference between their standing and the first place guy.
Okay.
To boil all that down, I'm up like 80-something dots on the last place guy. I'm playing really, really well. 80 dots against 2 different guys times $2. Them up like 300 some odd dollars. 17th hole, the guy wagers as much as he can. There's no blood in the hole. Like, we tie the hole. So we get to 18th hole. And there's also rules that if you birdie, the hole doubles in value.
Okay.
And if you eagle, it multiplies by 8 in value.
Okay.
Okay. So the guy obviously wagers the maximum he can. It's like 40-something dots, which is, $80-something because it's $2, whatever. And it's a long par 5 into the wind. Granite Links is the 9th hole on the Milton side, for those of you that are listening. Playing from the tip, so it's a long uphill hole. Yanks one right, where there's like a huge quarry over there. My buddy, and it's 2 against 1. I'm by myself.
Yep.
Against these other 2 motherfuckers. Guy yanks it right. There's these huge stone slabs that like are between the quarry and the golf hole, and they like never stop anything. The ball like goes in there. He hits he's a lefty, so he hits like a low hook to the right, hits one of the stone slabs and like stays in play, but it's in the rough. So he's got like 230 or something uphill. I'm playing the hole perfectly, Nice drive right down the middle. I lay up with like a 7-iron. I hit a shitty layup actually. I'm in like a greenside bunker, but it's like a 70, 80-yard bunker, like away from the hole.
Yeah.
Tricky little bunker. Anyways, guy fucking roasts a 3-wood to like 15, 20 feet. So does his buddy. So they've both got like between 15 and 20 feet for eagle. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I hit a heroic bunker shot in between, or closer than they are. So I've got like, 10 feet for birdie. They've both got 20 feet for eagle. First guy hits a great putt down there, like lips out. My other buddy, Tim, steps up, cans it.
No.
So I legitimately, they're like hobbling around the green. They're doing the eagle sign, which you like flap your fucking wings.
Yep.
And we're shit-faced drunk.
Of course.
We're 3 fucking idiots playing golf on like a Saturday. He's running around the green, eagle, 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 going absolutely nuts. I'm like, oh man, like I don't think that was good for me. But I didn't really realize it. Go in the clubhouse. I went from up like $300-400 to down. I believe I lost like $1,200 total.
Unbelievable.
Or something in one fucking hole. And everyone's like, why are you guys gambling so much money? I'm like, we were gambling $2.
Yeah, it's just.
It was literally $2 a hole. And I had a putt for birdie, for fuck's sake. Like, I literally easily could have made birdie, which is like a pretty good goddamn score.
Yeah.
For someone that's not that sweet at golf. So yeah, I lost. I feel like it was between $1,400 and $1,500 in like 10 minutes.
What were you like the rest of the night?
I was the most miserable motherfucker to hang out with.
Check your fucking timestamps, Riggsy.
Of all time. I was so pissed off at everyone. And we were, like I said, we were drinking heavily. So,
oh, yeah.
So check your fucking timestamps. Vodka laced. Riggsy is not a good guy. We went to TGI Fridays, I believe, that night. I got like kicked out. On to the
good.
WGC Mexico preview.
Okay.
We've got brand new tourney. They moved it from Doral to Mexico.
Trump stuff, right?
Yeah, kind of Trump, but I think it was like not necessarily political, but it was like, Trump did own the course and all that.
Okay.
Anyways, they're going to Mexico. I think the players are actually pretty excited about it. We don't know shit about it, so we're not going to pretend like we do. Brand new course. I think Capfather, our boy, said they've only hosted like one tournament there ever.
Okay.
Anyway, everybody's been waiting for it.
This is the big thing. Capfather is on a fucking heater.
Little known fact too. So Capfather predicted, of course, for those, Ricky was 16-1 this last weekend to win.
Mm-hmm.
Capfather picked him. He won. DJ was, I believe, 8 or 9-1 the week before. Capfather picked him. He won. Those were the 2 weeks that I went public with it. The week before that, Capfather was DMing me and I just wasn't responding to his ass. He picked Spieth at Pebble. Yeah. I went back and researched it. He picked Spieth, so he's 3 in a row.
It's incredible. For gamblers, there's not a hotter ticket than Capfather on the Foreplay podcast.
So anonymous DMer at Capfather on Twitter. Everyone's been waiting for it. This is what he says. We text now, by the way. We're text buddies. I'm not going to get into what he does. He says, okay, Riggsy, I've been racking my picks all week, but I think I've come down to a decision. I don't like having more than 2 guys. I've got it down to 4, but we're going to cut it down to 2. It's like, okay. He says it's between DJ and Spieth for him, and then also he likes Thomas or Woodland. So he's trying to pick one from those 2 pairs.
Okay.
He says, Spieth's short game basically is where it's going to come down because he's been studying layouts, He's been studying course layouts. He tweeted it out this morning.
You tweeted the picture, or you quote tweeted his. He's just all in on these courts.
He's been sending me pictures since last night. He's been studying course layouts. A lot of dogleg rights, so he likes guys that fade the ball. He really likes DJ and Spieth. However, he said he emailed a bunch of the course members at this course in Mexico. Emailed the members.
Lunatic.
Members said that the greens are way faster than people are used to on tour, or that they're expecting. So it comes down to short game. So he really loves Spieth at 9-1, and he also said you're absolutely insane if you don't take Gary Woodland, who's coming in at 50-1.
Oh,
Gary Woodland has been on fuego.
He has been in fuego.
So, if you like to win money, the Cap Father, our anonymous source on DMs on Twitter, he likes Spieth 9-1. He likes Gary Woodland 50-1. I've already bet basically my life on both of them.
Yeah, and I'm not a gambler. I'm really not. So, but even I need to get in on this action. I can't sit out the Cat Father any longer. It doesn't make any sense.
I feel bad for people that have been. I'm mad at myself because I haven't been betting enough.
Right, that's
I'm
what you said.
still up a healthy amount. I bought myself new golf shoes yesterday, mostly because everyone's shitting on my last pair that I bought. I actually bought the exact same pair. They're just different colors.
That's fine.
Thank you. So that's interesting. But that's the Cap Father's picks. What do you think, Trent?
I think people should be having to pay us for these picks. That's we need to set up that service. But if he's right, I mean, like you said, this is the first time they're doing this WGC here. I don't have much experience with it, haven't studied it. Cat Father has. Can't hate going with Spieth.
Emailed the members, checked the course layouts. He's got his pick. It's Spieth, it's Woodland. When those guys both win, I mean, we're going to win a ton of money.
So much money.
All right, folks. I believe that's it for this week. Remember, go leave a review. Win yourself a green jacket. We are Foreplay on iTunes, Podcast 1. Also, email us any stuff you've got from the gallery, any stories, any questions, really anything you got that you think's interesting related to the world of golf, golfing with your buddies. Foreplay at barstoolsports.com.
Buy a new Barstool Golf Polo. They're hot. They're on sale now, so check those out.
They're absolutely hot. They're great shirts. That's it for this week. Enjoy the WGC Mexico Open. We'll see everybody soon.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
I hit it hard, man. So far.